One thing I hate is YouTubers who talk a big game, like as if they're absolutely rock solid, like as if they can fight and take on anyone on the street. Those same type of people where you would look at them and you would almost get intimidated by how they act and the confidence that they possess, and it would make you think, wow, I bet you they can really handle themselves. When really, they're just frauds. They think they're solid because they're big or they're on the juice. And the person who I'm talking about today is Mr. Bum Man himself, True Geordie. So if you don't know, True Geordie, he's a YouTuber. He's been around for God knows how long. He does commentary on a wide variety of things, mainly fighting stuff. He's got a very good podcast. He's really successful. He's had a bit of beef with Andrew Tate in the past, and he's had a few internet controversies. I don't really watch his content, but I seen he uploaded this video last night. Francis Ngannou just ruined Tyson Fury's legacy, and I seen that punchable face on the thumbnail and I thought, I'm gonna have to watch this, see what he's saying. And this geezer is talking like he's an absolute hard knock, like as if he would batter Tyson Fury. And some could say it's just marketing. He's being purposefully brash because it gets the views. Here I am doing a reaction video to it, so of course it works. But I just don't like it when you've got people like this talking the way they do in a particular manner, and then you see them on the pads and you realise that they can't throw a punch to save their life. It's a little bit similar to football culture, where you've got big fat Barry down at the pub drinking 15 pints, big fat beer belly, telling Ronaldo or Messi or David Beckham, I don't know who the footballers are of these days, but telling them what they should do. Oh, you should have went left, you should have went right, he should have passed it to Avizio. That's the wrong play, that. It's like, listen, fat Barry, what do you know? You can have your opinion, but tone down your attitude a little bit. So let's take a look at what this soul-loving guy has got to say.
Oh my days! Yes! Get in there, my boy! Get up there, my boy! Yeah, remember that? Get up there, you big stiff dosser. Tyson, me and you, misfits. My debut. I think I could take you. I think I could you up after that. You don't want it with these debut boxers. And all this crossover stuff, we can make some money. Come on, let's have it.
Clearly, he's joking. This is the type of guy where if he had a fight himself, he wouldn't be humble in victory or humble in defeat. He'd probably just be a bit of a knobhead. In this video, he's made up to his core. You can see how happy he is that Tyson Fury arguably lost that fight. Why doesn't he like Tyson Fury? Because he thinks he's not the best heavyweight boxer. He's got the maturity of the average TikTok commenter. Also, clearly you're joking, but Tyson Fury would wipe the floor with you, as would a lot of people, including myself. I don't care if you're 300 pounds and you've got a big roid head. Just because you're on the gear and you've been doing a bit of pads doesn't mean that you're a tough guy.
Francis Ngannou wasn't born. He was created in a factory. He's a machine. Remember when John Fury said that? I'm a machine. No, this is the machine. Built to destroy the dictatorship that has reigned over boxing, that has kept boxing from finding out who the baddest man on the planet really is by ducking the hard fights. He took on a debut boxer for an easy payday, and you got made an absolute mug out of, Tyson Fury. You put the phone down on me. I never want to have an interview with you again. I don't want an interview. A bum like you. You can't even beat a guy on day one. Absolute dust.
That roid rage is really kicking in there. You see how angry he got on that bit?
And you got made an absolute mug out of, Tyson Fury.
Mug out of Tyson, yeah. Absolute juice. I've never seen someone this passionate about people who pick and choose the fights. Name a boxer who doesn't do that. Pretty much everyone does it. In fact, that's the reason why most people fall out of love with boxing, is because all the fights are hand selected. And that's the reason why MMA is better, because the best fights the best. All the top boxers, especially at heavyweight, they all pick the fights. Okay, Tyson Fury wanted an easy payday versus Francis Ngannou. He didn't go for the Usyk fight. But now that he's had this fight, he's talking about, right, time for Usyk. Let's go. In the new year, me and Usyk, let's do it. All these experts, boxing commentators say that Tyson's ducking Usyk, Tyson's ducking this person, ducking that person. He's literally about to fight Usyk, and that fight is most likely going to happen. And then screaming at the camera with that energy, I'm just not a big fan.
Dosser! They call him the Gypsy King. Well, the Gypsy King bent the knee to the African King last night.
He's only saying that because he likes to put black up his poop shoot.
Wondering who is the baddest man on the planet. We set this bullshit fight up, which was what I thought it was, because we had an MMA guy who was going to pretend like he couldn't destroy Tyson Fury if he wanted to, in any way he wanted to, in a real fight. But he was going to put these gloves on, abide by the rules, and probably get his head jabbed off by Tyson Fury. But Francis Ngannou did not get that script, and I'm going to tell you exactly fucking why in this video. Now, I'm just going to say from the get-go, Francis won that fight. He landed the hardest shots. He dropped him. He was the more imposing fighter in that fight, and everyone fucking knows it. But boxing is corrupt as fucking who cares, right? Like, we're used to it at this point. We all know who the real winner was. But for Tyson Fury to have to point at ring rust as a reason, mate, you've just destroyed your whole fucking legacy in one night, man. Because Francis Ngannou, he didn't have a ring to fucking rust. He's never been in the ring, been in a cage, because he's a caged animal. He's a real dog. And you found that out in there, didn't you, Tyson? You didn't want anything to do with him, running away for the last 2 rounds. Pathetic, actually, that. Pro heavyweight champion boxer against a guy in his first ever fight, and you're on your bike not wanting to go near him.
Tell you what, can you ride Francis Ngannou any harder, true Geordie? I would hardly say that Tyson was running. He was just frustrated. Nothing was happening. You can also say the same for Francis Ngannou. He got that knockdown in the 3rd round, and then he didn't try and capitalise whatsoever. You can make the argument that after round 3, pretty much nothing happened the entire fight between both fighters. So I know that you're loving riding your African king right now, but he also didn't do much for the rest of the fight.
Just the sweetest one of all this. Like, 37 years old, Francis Ngannou's first ever boxing match. Coming off the back of a huge knee injury, 2 actual knee problems, 18 months out of the cage. So it's actually been longer since he had a fight than Tyson Fury. Trained by Mike Tyson, who's never actually been a boxing coach before, ironically. And he bullied Tyson Fury. I'm gonna say it again, bullied Tyson Fury.
I mean, I would hardly say bullied. Did it look like Francis Ngannou won? Yes. But I think you're exaggerating a little bit here, true Geordie.
All of that chat about Big Tyson thinking he's this big man, looking down on everyone else around him. When you kick people on the way up, we're going to remember when you fall. And that's what today is all about. It's the fucking humbling of the Gypsy King. And it's the sweetest one, man. Because this guy has been such a prick for too long now. And to get embarrassed by a guy who's never had a boxing match before. You're a gypsy clown. You're not a gypsy king.
This is personal, isn't it, true Geordie? And you're also speaking like a proper tough guy here. You need to speak with a little bit more respect. You're speaking to the heavyweight champion of the world with 0 respect. And what are you going to do about it? You can't fight to save your life. You punch like RoboCop. I'm a firm believer, if you're going to critique someone this heavily to this extent, then you better be able to throw a decent enough punch or have some sort of fighting background or martial arts background, but all you are is a weightlifter with 25% body fat who's on the gear. So you're going in a little bit heavy for someone who can't actually fight.
Boxing. You're supposed to be this great heavyweight champion. You've compared yourself to Muhammad Ali. Never say that man's name again. You will let down boxing. You've let down the Fury name. Oh, Big John has been calling this man a Greek god for how long? I hope he's all right. Can we get someone to check on John? Get a phone call. Is he okay? I am worried because in the last 2 weeks, his boys have been exposed by guys who apparently don't know how to box. The great Fury legacy in flames.
In flames! I mean, I know sometimes I like to provoke and like to bring the energy up, but this guy seems like he's got anger management issues.
I'm watching At Home with the Furies, and every time Tyson's in a bad mood, Paris gets it in the neck, so let's all pray for her because her ear will be getting chewed off by the big baby that he is. Big baby. Watch that show. He's an absolute whingy man.
For someone who's such a hater, you're still tuning into all his shows, aren't you? And they say that a different perspective you should have is that your haters are truly your biggest fans. They're the ones sitting there watching all of your content, criticising you. And don't get it twisted, I'm not a hater on True Geordie. I was somewhat impartial on him up until this video, but you bring that energy of a tough guy and pretty much challenge one of the best heavyweight boxers of our time. You gotta have some sort of credibility to back it up, apart from being a YouTuber and the fact that you can bench 180 kilograms and play a bit of rugby.
The funniest thing about this is, like, MMA fans have had a decade of boxing fans chatting shit about MMA, this and the other. Mate, these MMA boys, they're not to be with. Like, in a real situation, stay away. There's a reason boxers don't go in the cage, and them MMA fans have had the last laugh today. Like, they are loving it.
And at last, there's something I agree with you on. And I'm also an MMA guy. I'm not a boxer. I've never actually done any boxing coaching. And I can still box better than you. Let me just paint the picture for you in a second. Imagine if I'd done a video similar to True Geordie's here, criticising Tyson Fury, removing the personal insults from the equation. I guarantee there'll be people in the comments saying, Shaun, what gives you the right to criticise? What have you done? How are you going to sit there and critique Tyson Fury to that level when you can't even throw a punch? Luckily enough, I can throw a punch, and I can kick, and I can grapple, and I can elbow, and knee, and clinch, so at least I'd have a little bit of credibility. What's True Geordie got? It's about time someone starts calling out these stupid MMA commentators like these, who sit there on the high horse and they think they're absolutely amazing because they've got a bit of status online. True Geordie is the true definition of one of these lads who thinks that they're solid because they're big. They're not used to getting challenged because they're big, because he's on the gear and he looks scary with his tattoos on his neck and he's got a big fat head with a big beard and a shaved head. They're not scary. Once again, you see them on the pads and they're punching like RoboCop.
It was just called into question everything we ever thought about Tyson Fury, the entire legacy. When you look at Fury's legacy, it's really lacking any good fighters. It really is. The two that he's fought, that he beat, Klitschko, yeah, he outboxed him, but it was a horrendous fight, and it wasn't like he put a beating on him. And then when it came time for the rematch, didn't want to know, went running. Deontay Wilder, one-trick pony. All right, hell of a one-trick, but he's hardly the best boxer ever. This is what I was talking about the fights with Chisora and Dillian White. We don't get any idea of how good a fighter is by fighting fighters like that, who are beaten before the fight even took place, who aren't even really trying to win the fight.
That's all well and good, but you could also make the opposite argument that maybe Francis Ngannou is just a lot better than we thought. Let me paint another picture for you. What if Francis Ngannou has another boxing fight against, name any credible boxer you want? Let's say Francis Ngannou fights Usyk and he does a lot better than we thought. Does that mean that everything that you're saying about Tyson Fury is no longer credible? Does that mean then we've got to pretty much question Usyk's entire legacy because he had a little bit of an off night against Francis Ngannou when he said it was a little bit of ring rust? Or once again, is it just the fact that maybe Francis Ngannou is better than we thought? I said it 5, 10, 20 times on the build up to the fight. Don't count out Ngannou. Everyone was counting him out. And granted, I'll give you this, True Geordie, I know that you was giving Francis a decent chance on the build-up to this fight, but a lot of people weren't. Is it that Tyson Fury isn't as good as we think he is? Or is Francis Ngannou just better than we thought? Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Tyson Fury, if we're being honest, should retire after that shit show. A guy on day one just bullied you. Give it up, mate. He probably can't because he wants all the f***ing money, so he's going to go in there and he's going to get his f***ing head taken off at some point.
Yeah, it was Francis Ngannou's first fight, but it wasn't day one, was it? He's been knocking out all of his opponents in MMA prior to that. I know True Geordie praises Francis Ngannou, but the way he's talking here almost is knocking Francis Ngannou down. You're shit because you got beat by Francis Ngannou. That was his day one, and you got beat by him. He's the alpha male. You're shit, you're shit, you're shit. So True Geordie is more concerned about beating Tyson Fury down than lifting Francis Ngannou up. And look, he has given Francis Ngannou praise, but this whole video and the whole energy is centered around the hate that he's got for Tyson Fury. I know the YouTube scene like to talk about people who are biased and they're biased with the commentary and this and that. And listen, I'm all for being biased as long as you acknowledge it. But this is someone who's extremely biased. I'm not going to watch the other 10 minutes of this video of him just ranting on. It's basically just more personal insult towards Tyson Fury. But let me show you a little bit more footage of True Geordie and how much of a tough guy he really truly is. This clip of him was taken from his response to Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor dissed him and True Geordie responded with this, pretty much challenging McGregor.
I'm 300 fucking pounds and built like a rugby player. Oh, fuck. I would pick Conor McGregor up like a shopping bag with one arm. He is so small compared to me. And I know his fans are going to think he's like Superman or whatever, but they've got weight classes for a reason, bro. I'm more than twice the size of this man. And look, if you want to do a charity fight, anything, MMA, boxing...
First off, McGregor would absolutely smash your fat ass to bits. The big lads like these have such an inflated sense of what they're capable of. I would pick McGregor up like a shopping bag with one arm. You sound like Bradley Martin. No, you wouldn't. You actually wouldn't. You act like you just grab McGregor and McGregor would just be still and you'd pick him up and then slam him on the ground. Like as if McGregor would just let you do that. Spoken like a guy who's never done any MMA sparring whatsoever. You've done a little bit of boxing sparring. Maybe you've had a couple street fights where it's been unfair and you and your mates have cracked a couple lads. You haven't got a clue. You just commentate on fights. You've recently started doing a little bit of boxing. That's it. At least for me, I've trained in combat my entire life pretty much. It gives me the right to speak on this stuff. And here's another note whilst we're on this point. When I was doing all the Bradley Martin videos, I was getting a lot of people saying stuff to me like, Shaun, you can't fight. We haven't seen you in a professional fight. Blah, de blah, de blah. Maybe you should get in the ring. Why don't you set up a Misfits boxing event? I done a live stream last night. I got all these questions again. Are you ever going to fight Shaun? Are you ever going to fight? 100%. That's my goal with this channel, is to book a fight and document the process of getting fit and getting in shape again, building muscle and doing a fight. Ideally, yeah, I'd like to do something I'm getting paid for, like a Misfits event, because prepping for the fight takes over your entire life. And I've got a real world business. I've got the YouTube, I've got the online coaching, I've got personal training clients, I've got personal trainers who are mentor. I've got a lot going on, so it's a lot for me to commit to a fight, but I want to do it. I only really started this YouTube properly at the start of this year. I've went from 1,000 to 85,000 subscribers. Why don't you just go and give that energy to True Geordie, who's been chatting crap online for ages? And look at how he chats crap as well. He chats crap to the heavyweight champion of the world. He chats crap to Conor McGregor and says, let's do an MMA match. He'd get absolutely obliterated. When are we going to see True Geordie in a boxing match? He's been chatting online for years, calling out people left, right and centre and thinking he's a tough guy. Let's see him in the ring. Let's see him in the cage. So I understand he's coming at me with that energy, but I've been doing this for years. My entire life, fighting and doing martial arts is normal for me. Combat came before YouTube. Combat came before personal training. It was the first thing that got me into this world. I wouldn't be doing these videos now without kickboxing, without kung fu, without MMA, without BJJ. True Geordie's done a bit of rugby, lifted some weights, got on the gear, chats crap on YouTube, and still hasn't done anything, still hasn't proved himself. So I just don't like it when people worship individuals like this, like as if their word is gospel. Maybe I'm taking this a little bit personally. Maybe I'm triggered. So what? He's taking this whole Tyson Fury thing incredibly personally. I just hate it when people come with that energy, like as if they're going to do something about it, and then you see them throw a few punches and it's laughable. It's the same people who you'll get into a road rage incident with. They'll pull up to you, they'll give you the middle finger and shout at you and get all angry. But then if they were to step out the car and actually have a fight, they get absolutely cracked everywhere. I know people like that. The tough guys in the car when the windows rolled up. The moment that they get confronted, they fold, they flappy. So True Geordie, Tyson Fury, it's back to you. Stop riding Francis Ngannou so hard. And no, you wouldn't pick Conor McGregor up like a shopping bag with one arm. Stick to picking up your Big Macs with one arm. Appreciate all the support. Like this video. See you tomorrow. I'm out of here.